Nebraska has a huge bounce back opportunity versus Purdue this Saturday. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over my key players for the Huskers, guys who need to have a big game in order for Nebraska to get the victory. So really quick, we have a lot to discuss in today's video, but if you're excited about Saturday, I know I am, hit that like button. And hey, if you're new to the channel or it's a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. I post daily Nebraska football content, and I am not slowing down anytime soon. So make sure to subscribe if you're a diehard fan. You will not regret it. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over my key players for Nebraska to get the victory versus the Purdue Boilermakers. Let's start it off with my first player. This isn't just one player. This is a unit. The offensive line for the Big Red, they have to have a big day, a big bounce back performance from the Illinois game last Friday. Now, they're coming off one of their worst games of the season in the pass pro department. They gave up 5 sacks on Raiola, and we can never get the running game going versus the Illini either. So the offensive line really got no push, especially in that first half. That's why I expect, and I am going to put them on this list because I think they're going to have a big game versus Purdue. Number one, I don't think this is a good defensive line for the Boilermakers. And number two, I think this offensive line for Nebraska, they're a little bit angry. They're angry after their performance versus the Illini. They know they could do better. So they need to step it up, especially with a guy like Turner Corcoran being out for the foreseeable future. We have Gunnar Gutula stepping up there at left tackle. You need this offensive line to have a big day because one of the keys to the game, like I said earlier this week, you need to run the football down the Boilermakers' throats. This offensive line, everybody needs to step up at the tackle spots, at the guard spots, at the center spots. That's how you win Big Ten football games. We can sit here and talk about quarterback play, and we can talk about running back play and the defense. You need to have a dominant offensive line. Nebraska sets the record straight this Saturday, and I think these boys have a very good day in the trenches. So that's my first key player, key unit. We'll get back to the individual players here with my second pick. Dylan Raiola needs to have not only a good game versus Purdue, I think he needs and will have a statement game, meaning he's going to prove to not only the fan base, not only to the Big Ten, but to college football that he's one of the best quarterbacks and he's here to stay for not just this year, not just next year, but the next 3 years. And really talking about Dylan Raiola specifically, I thought he played very well versus Illinois. He was not one of the reasons we lost that game. The reason why I'm so confident about this team, you know, compared to my level of confidence in the past, I haven't been too confident about Nebraska in the Scott Frost era or even last year for Matt Rhule. The reason why it's different this year is because we have an X factor at quarterback. We have one of the best quarterbacks in America. We went from one of the worst last year to one of the best this year in Dylan Raiola. Again, nobody can compete against him in this Big Ten. We truly believe he's already a top 15, top 10 quarterback in college football. So he needs to prove it today. He needs to prove it versus the Boilermakers. And I think it's going to be one of those games you look back on and say, yeah, Dylan Raiola, this was really the start of something special. You can go back to that Purdue game. So that's why I'm confident in Nebraska. People ask, why do I still think Nebraska wins 8 games? Because I know a lot of fans have been pessimistic and they think, oh, Nebraska won't even win 5 or 6 now. The reason why I'm still confident and I still believe in this team and I'm still optimistic is because we have a difference maker at quarterback, and he proves that this week versus Purdue because he's angry. Okay, winning quarterbacks aren't happy with losing. Dylan Raiola is a great quarterback, and he wants to win every single ball game that he steps out on the field for. So I think Dylan Raiola is a good game. He is my third key in order for the Huskers to win. Let's go to the defensive side of the football with my third pick. Ty Robinson needs to have a good game for the Huskers. Number one, the rushing attack for the Boilermakers is the only thing they do well on offense. And Ty Robinson, time and time again, has been Nebraska's best run-stopping defensive lineman. So this game really bodes well for him to perform well in. But, you know, talking about Ty Robinson, I thought, you know, he needs to be angry after last week's defensive line performance. He played poor. I thought the entire defensive line really didn't have a great game. And that's, you know, contradictory from what we saw the rest of the season with Ty Robinson because he was so good those first 3 weeks. So I think he plays with passion. He gets a bounce-back game against a poor Purdue offensive line. And he needs to feast, man. He just needs to feast against the Boilermakers, get to Hudson Card a couple times, get him on the ground, force some fumbles, get to Devin Mockabee in the backfield. This defensive line needs to have a really, really good day, and Ty Robinson is the focal point of that because a lot of times you will be able to tell how well this defensive line is doing just depending on how Ty Robinson is doing. Like if Ty Robinson's having a good day, the entire defensive line is performing well. If Ty Robinson's getting bottled up and can't get to the quarterback, odds are this defensive line's not doing great as a whole either. So Ty Robinson really is the barometer for that, and I think he has a good day. Fourth key player for Nebraska, this shouldn't be a shocker to just about anybody, Tristan Alvano. Make your darn kicks. Give the fan base confidence back in our special teams. Give the coaching staff confidence in you, Tristan. Again, I believe Tristan Alvano is super naturally gifted. There's a reason why he was offered a full-ride scholarship in his senior year after draining, 4 field goals in the state title game. We know he can hit it from 60, 65, 70 yards out. It's the accuracy that's always been in question. He's likely going to be back this week. No, he's not 100% healthy. I don't think he will be the entire year. But we need Tristan Alvano when necessary, when he's up there to hit his field goals. You need to make them every single time. And he needs some confidence, man. He needs some confidence. So that's the fourth key. I don't think Nebraska will really rely on a big field goal to, get the lead in this ballgame because I think we're going to win by more than a couple touchdowns. I'm just giving you a spoiler for Friday's video. But you need him to make them just because we're going to be in ball games as the year progresses that are close, and you do need a big clutch field goal, so you want him to build that confidence right now in really a non-factor ball game. Number 5, John Bullock needs to play well. And this is a guy that, I say he needs to play well, but I know he's going to play well because he's been arguably Nebraska's best player on defense the first 4 weeks. You know what? When Nebraska needs to stop, or Nebraska just needs a player who's playing angry and really, really wants to win, it feels like John Bullock's always that guy. Feels like he wants to win more than anybody else in this defense. I don't know what it is, but he plays angry. He plays pissed off. And I like that from a linebacker, especially in the Big Ten. So John Bullock, again, he's going to need to, try to get in these running lanes, get Devin Mockabee, get to the quarterback once again. I thought he's been playing really good. I feel good about John Bullock and his future. So really wanted to put him on this list. I'm going to give you one extra guy here today. Sear Wright is my last key player for Nebraska. He's going to have a larger role this week with Tommy Hill and his injury. Now, as of recording this, I'm not sure whether or not Tommy Hill will play or will not play. My guess is he plays or gets less, or my guess is he does not play, or if he does play, he gets less snaps. For that reason, Sear Wright is going to have more opportunities. He's going to get more reps. And I thought Sear Wright balled out last week versus the Illini. He played physical. He really shut down the Illini's passing attack. At least he did his job. So I really, really feel good about Sear Wright in his future. And when he plays well, it just benefits our entire defense because that means our depth in that secondary is improving. So need him to play a really good game. Purdue's not going to pass the football too much because they're going to want to run it. But if they can't run it and they can't pass it, it's lights out. Nebraska is going to have a good day on defense. So, all right, that is my 6 key players, and I guess one unit there on the offensive line that need to have big games or for Nebraska to get it done versus Purdue. Let me know down below. Who's your key player that you're watching out for Nebraska versus the Boilermakers? Let me know in the comment section. And hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.